This is not a paid advertisement. I just want to talk about how much I love this program and other programs that I use in tandem with Clip Studio Paint. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is down here in the corner, I have the native built-in Clip Studio Paint stabilization tools. It used to be like a counter like this, like the squares, but now it's a full-on slider, so you can crank it up to like 100 if you wanted to, but that's kind of unusable. So I usually keep it around 7 or 8. That's 12. Around 7 or 8. Then you can kind of get a feeling for when you're drawing, it's just a smoother line, because a lot of times when you're drawing Clip Studio Paint or any drawing program on PC, you'll get something where your line's a little bit jittery, because it's either the latency between the Cintiq and the computer, or any drawing tablet in the computer, and also just the steadiness of your own hand. So if you're really struggling with making clean lines on the computer, I would suggest using Clip Studio Paint as a baseline, because then you can stabilize it and you can add post correction, which is also a great thing. I'm on pencil, my bad. Post correction, it's change whether to make lines smoother or degree of correction, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but basically if you draw a curved line and you turn it on a little bit, it'll predict what the line's supposed to look like according to how you drew it, and it'll just make it look nicer. It won't always get exactly what you mean, but a lot of the time it solves the problem of making sort of a jittery line. Okay, and the second item that I want to talk about, and you might say, oh my god, why are you doubling up? The second item is, oopsie, my bad, is up here. It's called Lazy Nezumi Pro, and you might say, Leisha, why the fuck do you have a second pen stabilizer? Because the Clip Studio Paint one isn't perfect, and Lazy Nezumi Pro isn't necessarily enough. And it sounds wild. I got Lazy Nezumi for use with Photoshop before I started using Clip. But I discovered if I use them in tandem, it actually makes just smooth, beautiful lines so easy. So yes, I'm a fraud, and I'm okay with that. But I'm a fraud that saves time. So usually I just use their subtle setting that comes with it, but it comes with a bunch of other different settings, including like concentric ellipse, connected lines, parallel lines, and they're beautiful and easy things to set up. And parallel lines, it's super easy, and like especially if you're only using Photoshop, I would deeply recommend investing in Lazy Nezumi. It's $35, 35 euros, I believe, so it's not cheap. No, I'm sorry, it is 35 Canadian. I'm sorry, I don't actually know what the price is. Let's go look it up really quick. Lazy Nezumi Pro. Yeah, and it's only for Windows, so I'm sorry if you're on a Mac. There are Mac alternatives, but if you're on a Mac, you can just crank up the stabilization and post correct in Clip Studio, and you'll probably get something similar. Buy now. Yeah, so it's $35 or 31 euros. Okay, so I was wrong right enough. So I use that in tandem. And the nice thing is that you can go into mini mode and it'll go a lot smaller. And these are all my favorites. I mostly just use the subtle. But the biggest time saver of all time is the line tool. I'm kidding. Although that is super important. Like, don't draw straight lines if you don't have to. Just, look, I'm almost on the table now. And I did that with a mouse. But the biggest time saver of all time in all history, if you have any knowledge of 3D and how to export as FBX or modeling, or if you have a 3D friend that you can just look at them in the eyes and go, my friend, I love you so much, please go into Blender, 3ds Max, Maya, whichever you have a legal copy of, and just make some stuff that I need in the background and throw it into Clip Studio Paint. chef kiss. So easy. Because all you have to do is now you can select this layer and go into LT conversion of layer, and you'll get all of these options, but I don't turn on tone because it goes wild and I don't need tone. And these are my settings. Your settings might be different depending on the resolution of your page. And I click OK. And it takes a minute. Extracting 2D outline. Oh, shit. And basically it comes with like a fill layer and 2 outline layers. One to sort of beef up the outline and that, and then you're done. That's it. All you have to do now is mask this folder out, and suddenly you have boxes in the background. You didn't have to do anything. It's so easy. All you have to do is have a proper FBX import, and like the default FBX settings work totally fine. Hey y'all, so I've loaded up 3ds Max. I'm gonna show you really quick just how I export. See, I have a document called set. This is the warehouse in Smooth Criminals, and I just select things that I want to export. And now a lot of these things, oopsie, a lot of these things I bought because I'm not a modeler, but I modeled all the boxes. I modeled the chair. I modeled the fire hydrant, and like obviously the roof and the pillars. And then I'll just select something that I want to export. I selected all the boxes previously, but say I want to export just this box. And I go into File, Export, Export Selected. This is 3ds Max, by the way, so I'm sorry if you have something else. And I'll just export it to my desktop. I'll call it Cardboard Box, because I'm not a heathen and I don't name things silly. And you don't necessarily have to export the lights because FBX, or Clip Studio Paint has lights built in, but I leave that on anyway. And yeah, fuck it, and then you just export it. Then you can go back to Clip Studio Paint and go into Import, 3D Data, Cardboard Box, and she's in there. Fam! And it's just a matter of using the object tool to rotate and zoom in and out, and accidentally click away from it so it looks like you're crazy. Oh, she's in there. Yeah, and that's it. Alright, well, thank you for listening. I hope that this was informative. And I hope that you get a lot out of this, and I hope that you speed up your process. And if you want any more videos like this, I can definitely make something, but this is my first time, so go easy on me. Okay, love you all, bye.